Director of the VA Southern Nevada Healthcare System. I want to thank everybody for joining us today as we formally announce the City of Las Vegas and Southern Nevada's selection as one of 8 municipalities nationwide to participate in the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's Mayor's Challenge to Prevent Suicide among service members, veterans, and their families. We are honored to have all of you here in support of this announcement. At this time, I would like to introduce some of our dignitaries and guests who have joined us today. We have the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, the Honorable David J. Shulkin. The Governor of the great state of Nevada, the Honorable Brian Sandoval. Members of our Nevada congressional delegation, including Congresswoman Dina Titus, Congressman Ruben Kewen, and representatives from the office of Senator Dean Heller, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, and Congresswoman Jackie Rosen. We have members from our state legislature, including Senator Pat Spearman and Assemblyman Chris Edwards. County and local elected officials include Nye County Commissioner Butch Borowski, North Las Vegas Mayor John Lee, City of Mesquite Mayor Alan Littman, Las Vegas Councilman Steve Soroka, and Boulder City Councilman Kiernan McManus. Representing our state partners from the Nevada Department of Veterans Services is Mr. Fred Wager, Deputy Director of Programs and Services. I would also like to welcome all of our numerous state and local veteran service organizations, and I see them all sitting out there. It's particularly in attendance today is Yvette Weigold, the Nevada Department Commander of the American Legion. And the Nevada Department Commander, Bill Dolan, for the Disabled American Veterans. Dan Kaminsky, President of the Nevada Paralyzed Veterans of America. Dr. Richard Small, Nevada Commander for the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And Cindy Edmondson, President of Women Veterans of Nevada. I would also like to acknowledge the executive committee members from our Southern Nevada Veterans Community Engagement Board, who represent more than 50 federal, state, local, and nonprofit organizations focused on supporting veterans. Finally, I'd like to welcome those who have been selected from the city, county, state, federal government, and nonprofit organizations as part of the Mayor's Challenge team. And they're joining us here today. Thank you for accepting this important mission, and we look forward to supporting you in this challenge. I would now like to introduce the Honorable Dr. David J. Shulkin. He is the 9th Secretary of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Nominated by President Trump to serve in his cabinet, Secretary Shulkin was confirmed by the U.S. Senate on February 14, 2017, by a vote of 100-0. Dr. Shulkin previously served as Undersecretary for Health, having been appointed by President Obama and confirmed unanimously by the U.S. Senate in July of 2015. As Secretary, Dr. Shulkin represents 20 million American veterans and is responsible for the nation's largest integrated healthcare system with over 1,200 sites of care serving 9 million veterans. VA provides essential benefits to veterans, including disability payments, educational assistance through the GI Bill, and home loans for families. Prior to coming to VA, Dr. Shulkin was a widely respected healthcare executive, having served as chief executive of leading hospitals and health systems. He remains a practicing internist and has the distinction of being the very first VA secretary to take care of veterans. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. David Shulkin.
Thank you, Peggy. And Governor Sandoval, it's a pleasure to be here. He was just in Washington visiting with us and had a chance to spend some time with the governor at the White House. You have such great representatives, Congresswoman Titus, of course, who served on the House Veterans Affairs Committee and represented you extraordinarily well. Congressman Kewen, thank you. Mayor Lee, Councilman Soroka, thank you very much. This is my first time at this facility, and I'm really eager to go on a tour and to see it, but it looks like a magnificent facility. How many of you get your care here? Wow, wow, lots of good customers here. So hopefully we're taking good care of you, but that's what we want to do. You know, this has been an important year for VA. Under the president's leadership, he really wants to make sure that we're doing better for our veterans. You know, this is something he cares passionately about. We've had 11 major bills that have gone through to improve veteran services. We do it in a bipartisan way. That's important for us when it comes to veterans, not to make this political. And we're going to continue to stay at this until we get this right. We have a lot more work to do. The single most important issue clinically to us in VA right now is to reduce veteran suicide. 20 veterans a day who take their life through suicide. It's a number that is so staggering, it's really hard to even begin to think about, but certainly none of us should accept that. There's just so much more that we could do. This week, we'll be delivering to the president a plan to allow every active service member who's transitioning from service to have a mental health care coverage benefit. Today, just 40% of people who leave the service are eligible for VA mental health care. That needs to be 100% because the single highest incidence of suicide for veterans is that first 12 months after leaving the service. So we know that this is something important that we can do, that we can target. The president's asked us to do this, and so we are going to soon begin to do this to make sure that every veteran has access to services. One of the first things I did as secretary is to expand coverage to those with other than honorable discharges, not dishonorable discharges, other than honorable. As you know, 15% of our service members get a discharge like that, many times related to a behavioral health issue or related to post-traumatic stress. People who need the benefits the most who aren't able to get that. So we're really looking for ways to be able to make a difference here. But the one thing that we know makes the difference the most is to work in the communities and to work within that fabric of not-for-profits and churches and to work with local governments. And that's why it's so extraordinary that Las Vegas is one of those cities that have been selected to use a population health, a public health approach to how we can reduce veteran suicide, how we can reduce suicide across the entire population, in fact. And March 14th and 16th, you're going to have a team of 8 or 9 people coming into Washington so we can all get together and learn the best ways to do this, to work together with federal, state, local communities and not-for-profit groups so that we can make a difference. So you should be extraordinarily proud of your leadership and the people who represent you. They care a great deal. And that's why this is such an important day for us to be together to make sure that we're all giving our support to all those who are going to be leading us through this effort, because we can make a big difference. We can do it right here in Nevada. So thank you very much. I appreciate having a chance to spend a few minutes with you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Governor Brian Sandoval was elected the 30th governor of Nevada in 2010 and re-elected in 2014. In 2005, he was appointed United States District Judge for the District of Nevada, and in 2002 was elected Attorney General of Nevada. He has previously served as chairman of the Nevada Gaming Commission and in the Nevada legislature. One of his accomplishments as governor includes working to make Nevada the most veteran and military-friendly state in the union. During the 2015 legislative session, a comprehensive plan to provide additional support to military veterans and healthcare services, along with educational employment, was signed by the governor. In addition to these policy changes, he has pursued substantial funding for veterans initiatives, including state matching funding for construction of the new Northern Nevada Veterans Home. Governor Sandoval has also held several national positions during his tenure, including the chairmanships of the Western Governors Association, the Education Commission of the States, and the Council of State Governments. He also previously served as the vice chairman and is currently the chairman of the National Governors Association. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Brian Sandoval.
Good afternoon, everyone. Truly a privilege and honor to be here. And it's always such an inspiration for me to be amongst what I call the heroes amongst us, which are the men and women of the military and our veterans. Secretary Shulkin, welcome. And thank you for coming to North Las Vegas, but Las Vegas and Clark County. I got to be accurate here. I don't want to make anyone upset. But in any event, as the Secretary alluded to, I had the opportunity to meet with him when I was recently in Washington, D.C. I had the opportunity to participate in and watch a presentation that focused particularly on veterans issues, and what an extraordinary job that you have done and will continue to do. And I suppose you don't, with respect to our congressional delegation, you don't see 100-0 very often, and to be confirmed with a unanimous vote is something that I think really speaks to the Secretary's devotion to the men and women of our military. And as was mentioned, I mean, as I said, I have a profound respect and appreciation for the men and women of the military. And it indeed is my goal to make Nevada the most veteran and military-friendly state in the country. In my capacity as governor, I also serve as commander-in-chief of our National Guard. And one of the promises that I made is that I would never miss a deployment ceremony or a demob ceremony in my tenure as governor. And I've had the opportunity to accomplish that, but that's not the point. The point is this. It is that when I see those men and women line up and saying their goodbyes to their families and their friends and their loved ones, and then when they come back, the welcome that they received, it really made an indelible mark on me in terms of my responsibility, and frankly, all of our responsibility to do our very best for all of you. And that, the point of today, and as the Secretary mentioned, when these men and women come home, and many of them are suffering, and they're suffering alone. And it's inconceivable to me that for some of them, and tragically think that the only way out is suicide. I'm really excited and honored that Las Vegas and this valley was selected as one of 8 across the country for this program. I know as governor, we have work to do in the state of Nevada. There's recently released data from the VA that shows Nevada's veteran suicide rate is one of the highest in the nation. Unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. And that's why we need to do more. And the Secretary mentioned 20 individuals a day. I mean, I don't have the words, and my understanding is that 14 of those 20 are not under VA care, and that's why it's so important, is what the Secretary mentioned, is to ensure that everybody, I promise that's not my phone. Yeah. I lost my place. No, no worries. It just brings home that we can and we must do more. There's no doubt about that. And we need to accelerate the suicide prevention efforts at the local level, to work with communities, work with the nonprofits, as the Secretary said, to ensure that these men and women of the military who come home understand and appreciate and know that they're not alone. As I said, these men and women choose to wear our nation's uniform. We get to gather like this because of you and because of our active duty individuals. But some of them need our help now more than ever. And as Nevadans, and I talk about it all the time, we are a family. and we take care of our own. And that's the importance of what's happening today. So I'm going to close with this. Many of you who have heard me speak at many veterans events, I love to quote Abraham Lincoln, because he is an individual or a president that had so much appreciation and respect for the military. But he said this. He said, "Honor to the soldier and sailor everywhere who bravely bears his country's cause. Honor also to the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves as best he can the same cause." That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen, is to do our very best for the men and women in the military, and particularly those that are in such distress that they are considering taking their own lives. So, Mr. Secretary, you have my commitment, and you have the commitment of the people of the state of Nevada that we're going to do everything we can to work with you to really turn this around and make Nevada the most improved state in the country with regard to suicide prevention. So, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. God bless our veterans. God bless the men and women of the military, and God bless the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Sandoval. In Nevada, our veterans are blessed to have bipartisan support from a dedicated congressional delegation. From working tirelessly on Capitol Hill to ensure individual veterans' needs are met locally, each of our members and their staffs are engaged in support of America's heroes. Congresswoman Titus and Congressman Keehan, thank you both for joining us personally here today. And I would like to give both of you the opportunity to provide some remarks. Congresswoman Titus.
Well, thank you, Director Kearns. Governor, thank you for making Nevada one of the friendliest states for veterans. And Mr. Secretary, it's a pleasure to have you here touring this wonderful facility. You will find that it is great. The only problem with it is it's not in District 1. But I can tell you it serves many of my constituents from District 1. Like the governor, there is nothing more humbling or more exhilarating than being in a room full of our nation's heroes. I know many of you, Hunter in my office has worked with you on cases. You have helped me with legislation. We fought really hard to bring the VA into the 21st century. Women's veterans, LGBT veterans, I see you in Washington and I see you here, and I welcome your wise counsel. In fact, most recently, you helped me on the appeals bill to try to modernize that and get rid of that backlog. And I want you to let me know if it's working or not, so I can then pass the word to the secretary if we need to do some other things with that. So thank you for your help. You know, I'm very proud of Las Vegas for being selected as one of the 8 cities where we're going to study and work on the suicide problem. You've heard the statistics. You know them better than I do. You know people who are in these desperate situations. It's great that the VA is now making mental health a priority along with physical health. And I want to do all I can to support that. In fact, I've led a bipartisan effort to try to do a study to link suicide with drug prescriptions, because we have such an opioid crisis in this country. Is there some link there? Is something we could be doing better with the VA and that kind of prescriptions? Also, to beef up the hotline so we're sure we're there if anybody really calls and asks for help. But I would urge you, as you move forward in trying to address this problem here in Nevada, to think outside the box. You know, there's some programs that are going on around this country that are addressing PTSD and depression and problems that veterans are having that are thinking outside the box. And I want to just mention a couple of them because I hope that we will see those pursued here in Nevada. There's an art therapy program that's being done in conjunction with the National Endowment of the Arts, where people find that if they can draw their problems, that's a way to help to express them and address them and deal with them. There's also music therapy programs that are out there that are very important. I think some are being conducted here in the hospital, aren't they, Doctor? Don't you have some of that? There's also what's called Operation Homecoming. This is a writing workshop to get veterans to to write their stories, tell their stories, how they feel, what they're going through, to share with others, as well as to get it off their chest. And I think those are great programs. There's a program called Creative Forces that is being conducted with Walter Reed, and they're doing studies to see how if you engage in all these creative activities, it is another way to help deal with these problems. Another way is with animal therapy. We've seen programs with horses and with dogs. Dogs who are companions on the battlefield can be companions at home and bring a lot of love and attention to people who may have that kind of loss. And I'm very glad to have heard the Secretary mention recently, and this is right in line with something we're working on too, that the VA needs to phase out dog testing. You don't want to do dog testing when there are all other kinds of technologies available that you can do medical testing on to help our veterans. And finally, I would say that we need to do more research on cannabis as an option to opioids. We don't know all the consequences of it. We don't know whether it will solve problems except maybe anecdotally, but if we do the research, that will be helpful, and I support that. And finally, let me just say that if we're going to address suicide and veterans and all the medical problems combined as one, we need a strong VA, because the VA is able to recognize what veterans' special problems are and treat them. We don't need to sell off the VA. We need to keep it strong. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and good afternoon. First and foremost, let me say welcome to the Secretary. Thank you so much, and welcome to the state of Nevada, and thank you for being here. This is the 4th Congressional District, so I want to welcome you to our district, and to a lot of our veterans here. I also want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for your service to our country. For those of you who are veterans, please stand up and let's give everybody a round of applause. I think it's going to be everybody in this room. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you to each and every one of you, to Governor Sandoval as well, to the councilmen, to Congresswoman Titus, Director Kearns, and Mayor Lee. It's an honor to be here with every single one of you. You know, I've been in Congress for a year, and let me tell you, I think it goes without saying that right now we have a very divided Congress. So it takes a lot of effort or a very qualified person to get, as the governor said, 100 votes in a confirmation hearing. And so to the Secretary, just want to say congratulations in a time when our country needs to be united as ever. It is very refreshing to see somebody receive 100 votes of confirmation, and also thank you for your service to our country. You know, it's unacceptable that right now we have 20 veterans who are committing suicide per day. It's a shame, because these are the folks who put on the uniform, who voluntarily joined to protect our liberties and our freedoms in this country. And what liberties and freedoms am I talking about? You know, I myself, I am an immigrant who came to this country when I was 8 years old. My family came here in pursuit of the American dream, because they knew that in America, if you worked hard and sacrificed and played by the rules, that you could achieve anything, that you could someday achieve that American dream of having a house, a car, a good paying job, to be able to serve in the military. But that American dream has been at risk for the last few years. And it is people like you who have sacrificed your life to protect those freedoms and those liberties. And so that is why it's important that we're here today. It makes no sense that somebody goes out there and sacrifices their life, their time away from their family. If you think about all those veterans who went out there and were overseas and all over the world or in other states, that time that they were away from their family, the birthdays that they missed, the weddings, their child's first steps, their first words. So it's not only the sacrifices that they made in risking their life, but also the sacrifices that they made within their own family. So I'm glad that the Secretary has taken this issue and made it a priority under his administration. I am committed to working each and every day to make sure that these pieces of legislation that Congresswoman Titus is championing in Congress as a member of the Veterans Committee. Make sure that they get a bipartisan vote because, again, this is not a Republican or Democratic issue. This is an American issue. Our veterans deserve better. So thank you so much for your service, and thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Congressman Titus and Congress Kean. The North Las Vegas VA Medical Center we're in today opened in 2012. It was the first new VA hospital in 19 years. We're very proud of the partnerships forged in acquiring this land and opening this facility. The city of North Las Vegas played a pivotal role in this effort and continues to do so as we both continue to grow and look to the future. Since being elected in 2013, North Las Vegas Mayor John Lee has been a major supporter of our healthcare system and our efforts in improving the lives of veterans. Mayor, I would like to give you the opportunity to provide a few remarks.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here. We are very proud in North Las Vegas of this hospital. We consider it the crown jewel of the VA system, and it continues to get bigger and bigger, and we're very excited about that. I would like to welcome you all to North Las Vegas today. It's a wonderful community, and we're proud of it. But within North Las Vegas, there's 40,000 people that have something to do with the Air Force, or military, I should say. Retire, spouse, dependent, active duty. 40,000 of our good residents are tied into the military, and this is the exact place this should be. Now, I'm probably a little bit biased, but I would tell you that North Las Vegas is probably the most patriotic city in Nevada. And it has a lot to do with our veteran community and how much patriotism they have. So as mayor of North Las Vegas, I once again want to say to you, we have big plans for this hospital. We're sad that there is a suicide situation. I myself have never contemplated suicide, nor have I ever thought that was an option. I've had bad moments, maybe, bad days, but I've never been driven to that level. So we want to support the VA wherever we can, whether it's through the federal, the state, legislative, or in the local government issue. North Las Vegas is very proud of our veterans. My father was a veteran. He served side by side with a gentleman named Francis Gary Powers, and we got shot down over the Soviet Union. We left there, we went to Roswell, we came to Area 51. The military has been a huge part of my life also. I'm very proud to be a military family member. And once again, welcome to North Las Vegas.
Thank you, Mayor Lee, and for your support of our facility. As being part of this selected for the Mayor's Challenge, each city is required to form a team with members from community groups, local governments, and other organizations. Representing Mayor Carolyn Goodman for the city of Las Vegas and Southern Nevada's team is Las Vegas City Councilman Steve Soroka. A retired Air Force colonel, Councilman Soroka serves in a variety of roles within the veterans community, including president of the Disabled Veterans Business Alliance, as a member of the North Las Vegas Veterans Community Commission, and as a public outreach coordinator for the Nevada Veterans Council. Councilman Soroka, we thank you for volunteering to support this challenge, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to say a few words on behalf of Mayor Goodman.
Thank you. And it's great to be amongst friends in this room. I have to tell you, how many familiar faces? So many familiar faces here. On behalf of Mayor Goodman, Carolyn Goodman this time, thank you for all your work. And it is an honor, Mr. Secretary, for Las Vegas and Southern Nevada to be selected as one of 7, now 8 cities to be part of this effort. And we have a lot to be proud of in this room. I say we veterans and veteran advocates in this room. And look who I get to stand with on your behalf today. Look at this amazing group of people from the federal level, the state level, in our community. And I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause for making this happen. You veteran community of Southern Nevada, give yourselves a round of applause, please. Could I have the members that are here today that will be joining me going to Washington, D.C. next week as part of this effort? Nina, or can you stand up, please? Can you stand up and be recognized? Thank you very much. Mr. Secretary, Governor, Congresswoman, Congressman, Mayor, Peggy, Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for leading this community. We are here because of your support. And veterans, we are blessed to have this support because we have leaders that understand these are not partisan issues. These are American issues. These are Nevadan issues. And as a state, we are strong and we have great leadership. And I can tell you, while I was still in uniform, I got a call from Mayor Lee, before he was Mayor Lee, reaching out saying, I want to help our warriors and our veterans. And the governor has long said, we will be the #1 veteran-friendly state in the union. And Mayor Goodman is on board, and all of Southern Nevada is on board. We have a lot to be proud of, and it is you. I will go back to you in this room. Countless hours of meetings. And I was asked to share, what has Southern Nevada done in this area? All I could say is, wow. Look what you've done in this area. Look what you, the veteran and the veteran advocate community in Nevada, has done. We will be going to Washington, D.C. next week to take our expertise to work with those that are experts across the country with a voice in our nation's capital. And that is because of you. So we will go forth, we will carry your message, we will bring it back, and we will share, but most importantly, it will be time to execute to the next level. And I will have you know that while there, we all will be singing a little Jody call. And we will be singing, Edie, Edie, Heidi, ho, Willie, 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 whoa. Take your hats off, hold them high. Nevadan veterans are passing by. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Councilman Soroka. At this time, we would like to ask our VAPs to join us to be the first signatories on our Suicide Prevention Declaration. When complete, this declaration will be displayed publicly in a prominent place here in the Medical Center.
We have former State Senator Terry Kerr with us today, too, who is a Vietnam veteran hero.
Mr. Secretary, I'd like to turn over the podium to you for some closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Peggy. I will be very brief. I just wanted to thank each of you for coming out today. When I look at how each of you came because this is an important issue and because you support the community and veterans, and then I had a chance to hear these amazing remarks from individuals who, if you noticed, really didn't repeat what each other were saying. Each had something different to contribute. It gives me tremendous hope that this community is going to make a big difference, that we're going to be successful in finding solutions that then we can share with the rest of the country. And it also gives me confidence, Governor, that Nevada is the best community for veterans and will continue to be so for a while. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. And thank you for all you do locally every day to make every day Veterans Day here in Southern Nevada. Thank you and have a great day.
Great job.
Thank you.
If I sign that.
Yes.